Njan Gandharvan. I am Gandharva. That's a strange way to name a story, isn't it? That one word, I am, does something unexpected to the title.
Njan Gandharvan. ചിത്രശലഭമാകാനും മേഘമാലകളാകാനും പാവയാകാനും പറവയാകാനും മാനാവാനും മനുഷ്യനാവാനും നിന്റെ ചുണ്ടിന്റെ മുത്തമാവാനും നിമിഷാർത്ഥം പോലും ആവശ്യമില്ലാത്ത ഗഗൻചാരി.
It shifts the meaning from mythology to identity. The title doesn't just describe a character, it declares one. Njan Gandharvan is often described as a fantasy romance, a story about a celestial being who falls in love with a human. Some remember it for its sensuality, others call it too bold for its time, and some connect the film's myth to the tragic and untimely loss of Padmarajan himself. But is it just a beautifully told tale of a teenager's romantic adventure with a supernatural figure, or just another attempt to humanize mythology for entertainment? I recently rewatched Njan Gandharvan and it felt different. Of course it did, or I wouldn't be making this video in the first place. But this time I noticed something quieter, something more philosophical, questions that I think should have been at the heart of the cult status this film holds. So today, let's sit with Padmarajan's Njan Gandharvan and try to understand the movie from its core. Before we go any further, we need to talk about the myth of Gandharva, because that's what this film is built on. The premise of Njan Gandharvan shares its spirit with the German masterpiece Wings of Desire, directed by Wim Wenders. In that film, invisible angels roam Berlin, listening to human thoughts and offering comfort. One angel falls in love and chooses mortality, choosing to feel, to touch, to live. Njan Gandharvan tells a similar story. Devan, a powerful celestial being, arrives on earth in human form. He falls in love and enters in a forbidden relationship, one that carries the weight of a Shakespearean ending. The shared idea of a celestial being in love with a human is clear, but Padmarajan's real stroke of genius is in which myth he chooses to anchor his story.
ഗന്ധർവം കൂടിയ ആ പെണ്ണിന്റെ ജീവിതം പാഴാ. വേറെ ഒരു കല്യാണത്തിന് സമ്മതിക്കില്ല. അങ്ങനെ അങ്ങ് നിന്ന് മൊരടിക്കും. അത് തന്നെ.
In the Gandharva myth, as a film itself references, this figure possesses young, beautiful women. He seduces them and leaves their lives in ruin. It's not just a folk tale, it's a patriarchal warning dressed up as mythology. A story likely designed to keep young women from stepping outside the lines drawn to them.
ഒരു പ്രായമൊക്കെ കഴിഞ്ഞ് അടങ്ങി ഒതുങ്ങി കഴിയണം.
അതിന് ഞാൻ
ഒരു പയ്യനും പെണ്ണും കൂടെ കുഴഞ്ഞു ചിരിച്ച് നിൽക്കുന്നത് കണ്ടാല് അത് എന്തിന്റെ അസുഖമാണെന്നൊക്കെ മനസ്സിലാക്കാനുള്ള ലോകവരി എനിക്കുണ്ട് കേട്ടോ. പോ അപ്പുറത്ത്.
In Wings of Desire, the world is Berlin, a city still carrying the wounds of war. In Padmarajan's world, the wound is different. It's the weight of tradition, hierarchy, and regressive social systems. The original myth positions the girl as a victim and Gandharva as a threat. But Njan Gandharvan quietly dismantles that. Padmarajan asks, what if both of them are victims, just of different systems? When Devan enters Bhama's life, there are no illusions. He is honest about what he is. Both of them know this might not last. Both of them know it might hurt, and yet they choose to be together anyway. What follows is something rare in Malayalam cinema of that era. Two people fully, unapologetically alive together. Love, laughter, and a strange kind of freedom bloom between them. They run from the human world and the heavenly one alike. They bend rules, tell smart lies, use magic, even force at times, doing whatever it takes to hold on to what they have together. But to understand why this relationship feels so radical, we need to look at the worlds they both are escaping from. Look at how the family system operates around Bama. Her mother pushes toward academics, not out of pure ambition, but as another way of managing her future. Her father and grandmother have simpler agendas. Get her married.
മര്യാദയ്ക്ക് ആ പെണ്ണിനെ പിടിച്ച് ദീപുവിന്റെ കയ്യിൽ കൊടുത്തു. പഠിപ്പിച്ചിട്ട് നീ അവളെ വലിയ വൈസ്രോയിന്നാക്കാൻ പോണില്ലല്ലോ. അതുകൊണ്ട് എത്രയും വേഗം കാര്യങ്ങൾ ബുദ്ധിയായിട്ട് ചെയ്തു. ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ ചിലപ്പോ അന്യജാതിക്കാരി പിള്ളേര് ഈ തറവാട്ടിൽ വന്നു കിടന്ന് അന്തി ഉറങ്ങുന്നത് കാണേണ്ടി വരും.
And when Bama resists, her grandmother doesn't appeal to her feelings, she reaches for gold.
മുത്തശ്ശി പറയുന്ന പോലെ കേട്ടും അനുസരിച്ച് നടന്നാൽ 10 റാത്തിൽ സ്വർണം മുത്തശ്ശി നിന്റെ ശരീരത്തിലിടും.
അനുസരിച്ചില്ലല്ലോ.
ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ എല്ലാം കൂടി എടുത്തോണ്ട് പോയി ഗുരുവായൂർ അമ്പലത്തില് ഭണ്ഡാരപ്പെട്ടിയിലിടും.
Obedience has a price. This is the world Bama lives in. A world where a young woman is not a person with desires of her own, but a responsibility to be handled, to be monitored and eventually handed off.
പിന്നെ അവര് കാശൊട്ട് ചോദിക്കുന്നില്ല. പയ്യൻ MBA കാരനാ, 16,000 രൂപ ശമ്പളമുണ്ട്. എനിക്കിപ്പോഴൊന്ന് കല്യാണം ആലോചിക്കണ്ടെന്ന് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞതായിരുന്നല്ലോ. പിന്നെ ഇപ്പൊ ഉടനെ ഇപ്പഴല്ലാതെ പിന്നെ നീ എപ്പോഴാ കല്യാണം കഴിക്കുന്നത്? ഒരു ഡിഗ്രി വേണമായിരുന്നു, അതിപ്പോ കിട്ടും. ഏതായാലും വലിയ റാങ്ക് ഡിസ്റ്റിങ്ഷൻ ഒന്നും വാങ്ങിക്കാൻ പോകുന്നില്ലല്ലോ. എന്നെങ്ങനെ അറിയാം? കാര്യം പറയുമ്പോ ഒരുമാതിരി തട്ടുത്തരം പറയല്ല വേണ്ടത്.
Devan's captivity looks different, but it runs just as deep. He is a celestial being who cannot choose his own identity. Heaven assigns him a role: possess, seduce, and destroy, and punishes him the moment he dares to feel something beyond his function. Every step he takes toward his own desires is met with warnings, torture, and consequence. Two people, two completely different worlds, and yet the same suffocating logic. You do not belong to yourself. This is what Padmarajan is really writing about. The myth of Gandharva becomes the perfect disguise, a fantastical shell carrying the very real critique of the patriarchal systems that govern both the heavens and the household. Njan Gandharvan is a story about personal freedom told through the language of folklore and fantasy, a genre in disguise, much like the Gandharvan himself. If Bama is driven by the very human urge to explore life and her own identity, Devan carries a different kind of longing. As he spends time on the earth, something begins to change in him. Beyond love, he starts noticing things heaven never offered him. The colors of the world, the fun in chaos. Even the taste of dosha and chutney catches him off guard. He enjoys the games they are forced to play just to stay together. Then comes the scene where he visits Bama's family. For Gandharvas, music is duty. Devan played in heaven to serve his superiors. A performance, not an expression. But when he plays on earth, something is different. It doesn't just fill the room, it opens people up. The grandmother, who had nothing but suspicion for him, offers him her murkan. The mother offers him tea. Small gestures, but enormous ones. The quiet human way of saying, you belong here. And for the first time, Devan feels what immortality never gave him. Acceptance, belonging, the warmth of a family that chose to let him in.
ഞാനിന്ന് ഭാമയുടെ വീട്ടിൽ വന്നത് എന്തിനാണെന്നറിയാമോ? മനുഷ്യനാകാനുള്ള കൊതി കൊണ്ട്. അമ്മ, അച്ഛൻ, അനിയത്തി, മുത്തശ്ശി, എനിക്ക് നിന്നോട് അസൂയ തോന്നി.
This is the moment he understands something profound. Life is valuable not despite its briefness, but because of it. It's built of moments and memories. And Devan understands that to enjoy all this, he cannot stay untouched. He has to become vulnerable. He has to become mortal. And above all, he has to become human. At first, Devan believes his punishment is exile, being cast down from the paradise of heaven into the chaos of the mortal world. But life on earth and love with Bhama reframes everything for him. The real punishment, he realizes, is not living as a human. It is being allowed to fully live as one and then being forced to forget it.
സ്വർഗം ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ഓർക്കാൻ പാടില്ല. ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഓർമ്മയിൽ നിന്ന് ഇങ്ങോട്ട് വിടുമ്പോൾ അത് മാച്ചു കളഞ്ഞിരിക്കുക. ശാപത്തിന്റെ കാലാവധി തീർന്ന് തിരിച്ചെത്തുമ്പോൾ അതും തിരിച്ചു തരും. അപ്പോൾ ഭൂമിയുടെ ഓർമ്മ മാച്ചു കളയും. ഇവിടെ കണ്ടതൊക്കെ അങ്ങനെയാണ്.
Strip away everything we shared, the love, the laughter, the adventures, the connections we made, and what remains? Nothing. We are nothing without the memories of the moments we lived. Devan holds on to this new wisdom even as he faces years of punishment and torture.
നിന്റെ ഓർമ്മ എൻ്റെ ഒപ്പമുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ എനിക്ക് ഭയമില്ല.
But then Bhama shows him another side of the same truth. Memory, she tells him, can just be as much a torment as a treasure.
ഭൂമിയും സ്വർഗവും തമ്മിലുള്ള ബന്ധത്തിന്റെ ഈ കണ്ണി അറ്റുപോയിക്കോട്ടെ. പക്ഷെ സദാ തീയും പുകയും വമിക്കുന്ന ഒരു ഓർമ്മയായി എന്നിൽ അവശേഷിക്കാൻ ഞാൻ അനുവദിക്കില്ല.
Up to this point, the film was heading toward a Romeo and Juliet kind of tragedy. And then Padmarajan quietly steps aside and lets the story go somewhere else. Bhama understands that love is one of the most beautiful things a person can feel. But if all it leaves behind is pain and guilt, then it is no longer beautiful. It becomes suffering. So she suggests something radical. Use the rules within the myth itself. Sacrifice the memory of each other. A painful choice, but one that makes room for life to continue. Padmarajan explores similar territory in Innale, where memory shapes identity and love. But the question here is slightly different. It's not just about who we are because of our memories. It's about how we choose to live when we cannot hold on to everything. This reminds me of Charlie Kaufman's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Another story built on the idea of erasing memory to escape pain. If you haven't seen it, please do. It's a remarkable film. Njan Gandharvan ends with the lovers separated. But the film refuses to treat this as pure tragedy. It leaves something else behind. A possibility that even after loss, the capacity for life, love, and beauty remains. The same things that made a Gandharvan want to be a human in the first place. What lingers after the film ends is not just the image of a lost love. It's a thought that being human is a balance between holding on and letting go, between remembering deeply and forgetting slowly. Padmarajan's screenplay is the perfect example to understand how a myth can be rewritten, not to celebrate power but to question it, and to understand how fantasy can sometimes be the most honest way to tell a very human truth. Wings of Desire asked his questions in the grey skies of Berlin. Padmarajan asked his under the shade of a Kerala afternoon. And yet, both feel universal because the longing they speak to is the same. The longing to be free, to be felt, to belong. Njan Gandharvan is not just a fantasy romance. It is Padmarajan whispering to us through myth, through poetry, through the smell of dosha on a quiet morning, that being human is the greatest gift and the greatest burden, and somehow still worth it. And maybe that balance, that fragile, imperfect, and sometimes painful balance, is what allows life to go on at all.